here's where we're gonna be a little bit clever with our lights and how fast our robot moves. So we're gonna have one more if statement. These are not gonna be tied into the ones above, so um, we're not gonna write an if else. It's gonna be another set of if statements. So the first one we're gonna check if we press F1, so that stands for function 1 in your control. And essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it so that when we press this button, if we're not at maximum speed already, our robot will uh, increase its speed. Now, because the controller is sending a signal and it can only do it, we don't want a robot to essentially change the speed too quickly, because let's say we're trying to get from speed 30 to speed 50. If it's too fast, we might skip over 50 and end up at maximum speed too many times. So we're gonna have this check right here, time check millis at 500, and this is essentially just gonna check that we have a little bit of time between increases in speed. And basically, if 500 seconds have or 500 milliseconds have happened, it will return true. If not, it will return false. Okay, so this part we're gonna do a quick check first. Again, this is what you would call a nested if statement. So we have if statements inside of if statements, because we're checking things inside of them. So for example, this one we're checking that the speed is not above 90. Because if we go above 90, for one, we don't have LEDs to really show it the way we're doing it, but also because too fast, we have an upper limit as to how fast you can make the motors move. Any higher than this, you can't really notice too much of a difference. Alright, so in this statement, we're gonna make it so that we increase the speed. So whatever our speed is, we're gonna increase it by 20, so it's noticeable enough. And we're gonna change our variables are speed meters, so our left speed meter and right speed meter, and we're gonna add 2 or subtract 2. So our speed meter left, we're gonna subtract 1, and speed meter right, we're gonna add 1. And so what this is gonna do is we're gonna do a digital write to whatever variable they're now representing. So if we were at 13 for speed meter left and we subtract 1, we're gonna be at 12, and we're gonna turn on that light. And so if you do this, and same with speed meter right, if it was at 16, now it's gonna be at 17, and we're gonna turn on light 17. And what this is gonna give us is a visual indicator that we have increased the speed of our robot, not just because our robot is moving faster. To add to that, we're gonna also add a tone. So we're gonna make it using Smart Inventor the bus. We're gonna make it play a note for a little bit so that we can tell that the speed has increased. Again, if I were to do the opposite, so this variable is turning on that light that it represents now. And so this is to increase the speed. So we're gonna do actually something very similar to decrease the speed. Again, we're gonna check which button was pressed. So for this one will be F2. Then we're gonna check the time between presses. So we're gonna check that at least a little bit of time has happened from the time that we pressed it. And then instead of checking whether the speed is above 90, we're gonna check that the speed is greater than 30. Any lower than 30 and your robot's pretty much not gonna be able to move, at least not easily, unless the surface is pretty smooth. So 30 should be relatively your bottom speed. So here we're gonna, instead of adding, we're gonna subtract 20, and then we're gonna change the we're gonna do this a little bit backwards from the increasing the speed. So we're gonna uh, I say turn off the LEDs first at the current position they are, because we're decreasing speed, so they're not gonna be there anymore. And then we're gonna change our variable for speed meter. Um, we're doing this after, because if we do it first, we're gonna end up leaving the wrong lights on and turning off the right lights. And then we're gonna add one to speed meter L, and we're gonna subtract one to speed meter R. And then we're gonna play another tone, but this one is gonna be slightly different from the one for increasing speed. Alright, so that actually marks the end of robot. So essentially, depending on which of the directional keys you press, the robot's gonna move in that direction. And if you add either function 1 or function 2, you're gonna make your speed increase or decrease. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope please subscribe and like, and I hope you watch the rest. Thank you.